I've been thinking a lot about what it means to be alone. It sounds simple at first, but the more that I thought about it, the more confusing it became. Because what actually counts as being alone in this day and age? If you're physically by yourself, but constantly connected to everyone online, are you really alone? If you go on a solo date, but you're documenting it for social media, does it still count? And if so much of who we are is shaped by other people, then who are we when no one is watching? I think a lot of us aren't actually alone as often as we think we are. More that we're performing solitude. I realized this about myself while on a trip to Tokyo. I had this overnight layover, and I was thrilled to get to spend some time in solitude in one of my favorite cities in the world. But a few hours in, I noticed something. My camera was out, and in my head, I was already scripting a video about my solo adventure in Tokyo. That's the moment that I realized, I wasn't actually alone. More that I was performing being alone, and I wasn't just experiencing solitude in Tokyo. I was thinking about how it would look, how I would present it, what kind of person it made me seem like. There's a concept in Japan about honne and tatemae. Honne is your true internal self, while tatemae is the version of yourself that you present to the world. And in that moment, despite being alone, I was fully in tatemae mode. I almost went to a restaurant that had these cute curry dishes, not because I particularly wanted them, but because they would look good on camera. So I stopped myself and dug a little bit deep and thought, what does Genie actually want? Genie is the type to eat conveyor belt sushi. She doesn't know the difference between high quality and low quality. You know what? I like the price. I like that there's a lot of variety and that it's swinging by you. And going there by myself and not taking any pictures or videos and just enjoying myself was so fun and delicious. I loved every single bite. More than anything, it was real. That was what I really wanted to do, and I was being myself. So I think that's what solitude actually is. Not just physically being alone, but being free from the version of yourself that's performing for others. Even if you're not the type to post on social media, still, a lot of us are not truly alone. We're still connected. We're still checking messages, still thinking about what someone said and what we are going to say, still mentally flipping between our honne and our tatemae. And that constant switching doesn't really give your mind the space it needs to settle. This is all especially important if you are a multi-passionate person, like me. If you're the kind of person who has a lot of different interests and projects and hobbies, you've never really been able to commit to one thing. Who you are when you're alone really matters, because it's one of the only times that you're not trying to be something. You're not putting a label on yourself. You're not trying to fit into an identity that makes sense to other people. You're just doing what you actually feel like doing. And we just don't get enough of that. Society really pushes us to narrow ourselves down, to pick one thing, to define ourselves clearly, and more often than not, that definition ends up being tied to our jobs. So much so that when you step outside of that, people get confused. And even if no one is saying it out loud, you still feel it. That pressure to make your life make sense to others, to be consistent, to be one thing. But when you step away from all that, when you give yourself real solitude, not just being alone, but being disconnected, that's when things really start to surface, where your real ideas are going to come from. And that's where your actual interests live. Not the ones that perform well, but it's the ones that feel natural to you. So if you want to try this, start small. A lot of people swear by something called morning pages, getting up early, spending some time alone, and writing freely. 3 pages, no structure, no judgment, just kind of a brain dump, letting all those thoughts come out, negative, positive, whatever they may be. If you're multi-passionate, maybe you need something a little bit more playful. I recommend trying to set aside at least an hour every week. Give yourself no expectations, no productivity goals. Make your space. Maybe bring a basket with a notebook, some drawing utensils, your Nintendo, whatever it is that that you've been interested in lately. Give yourself something creative and something curious. Most importantly, have something like an idea journal, just something with blank pages so that when these ideas do come to you, you can just jot them down right away. Make sure your phone is far, far away from you. And for that hour, just do what you feel like doing. Once you start getting even the least bit bored, switch to the next thing. Let yourself freely bounce between these interests. Do this without concern about what others think, because that's the point. I'm not telling you to figure out exactly who you are in these moments, but just give yourself space to exist and to do things. So if you've ever felt that you don't quite fit into one specific box, you might just be multi-passionate, and I think that you'll like this channel. It's really just me trying to figure out who I am and giving some advice along the way, because there's a lot more of us out there than we expected. Trust me. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about redefining ourselves as verbs rather than nouns, and how that completely changed the way I see identity. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever felt like you were performing being alone? Are there moments when you realized your choices were shaped by how others might see them? What's something you could change to give yourself a little bit more alone time? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!